Welcome back, Noble Heroes. Thank you for returning to us for another session of Mythia. We return to our heroes in the Doomridge, but first I would like to ask you to tell you our pledge. We here at the Homebrew channel reserve the right to be horrible, crass, and crude when the story calls for it, but also to be delightful, sweet, and tug on your heartstrings. And remember, Noble Heroes, do try this at home. We will begin this session, as I often do, revealing another perspective elsewhere in the world. The every week gamblers were throwing cards across the table with jaunty seriousness, cleaning up the remains of a close hand and ribbing each other about the week's failures. A sour date, the embarrassing pickup line, her angry wife, an empty treasure chest. They were perpetual failures, but persistent in life. That was especially true with the only trade worth anything here in the red light district of Bridgewalk. Gossip. My cousin told me that Garen officially closed its doors to everyone till the tournament. Seems like they're more hiding than protecting. But when you have a great big wall, as they say, you do as the dwarves do. Well, they did send Roland out to help, and I think we can forgive them since he just slew 3 dragons last week and saved the city. Don't forget, the Godmothers were here as well, and a bunch of other heroes. Can you believe that there was a pirate battle last week even before they raided the city? Someone killed the Decapitator and took her whole fleet. I think whoever they were trying to impress Ronan and become a pirate lord. I heard that in the market that Pitt was eaten by his own horror creature. Seems like he lost control of it and it just gobbled him up. Good riddance, I say. Did you all get your split of the returned money yet? I thought that was just a rumor. No. I saw soldiers with huge baskets of gold and jewels loading them onto an armored wagon, while me and the boy were out fishing. Looks like some greedy beach scraper had found millions of gold worth of valuables and hid them in his shack. The authorities found them and are confiscating them back. So they're splitting the funds among the citizens based on banknotes and throwing in a little extra on top for home repairs and such. Yeah, most of us didn't have dragon insurance. The whole table laughed, a hearty laugh among longtime friends. It was only then, when they heard the low, thick voice at the door, that they realized they were the only other voices left speaking in the hall. Yeah, me regular, I think. Potjack said as he fit his great girth through the door, and his beady eyes looked over a row of brothel girls in the front hall. Someone knew he was coming. With a winning smile, a stunning, voluptuous dwarf woman approached Potjack and grabbed his huge fingers, leading him through the game tables to the large stairwell. Of course, the establishment had a back stairwell for discretion, but Potjack wouldn't fit up it. By the pits, was that Potjack? Yeah, he comes here every few months or so. Calls it the jiggly place. You can see why. The whole group looked up at the sound of heavy footfalls that told them exactly where Potjack was. Poor girl. I've heard the other woman talk about it. You see that column over there? How huge and reinforced it is. That's so she can be magicked into a giantess. And, The twisted faces of the group clearly spoke their exact thoughts about that. I repeat, poor girl. Who knows what vile things a creature like that does to a beauty like her? As all their eyes collectively trailed over to the pole, a huge, solid metal weight-bearing column, around which the floor creaked alarmingly. The ambient magical music slowly increased in volume. Upstairs, in a grand-sized room, the 2 giants lay in an oversized bed together. There for the brothel's most massive customers. The bed was actually made for Goliaths or Minotaur, and the combined weight of the 2 was well beyond the danger limits for the room. They had been warned multiple times not to move too much, to which Potjack had often assured them with a sly smile that it wouldn't be a problem. Dory, the dwarf girl, had been more than happy with her large tips to share Potjack's sexual exploits, and to never speak about what truly happened in that bedroom. She was naked, at least her shirt was off, revealing her huge bosom, but Potjack wasn't lusting over her, and she knew he would never do so. Instead, the big lub was blubbering into her chest, cradled against her as she was sure his mother had done long ago. It had been like that since she had joined the brothel nearly 30 years ago as a side hustle. At first, she had been terrified when the legendary brute had chosen her. But she soon learned that he only wanted to be cradled like a child and have an ear for his problems. And for this small ask, he paid a king's sum for the magic and the secret. I done messed up, Dory. When the guards wrapped me up, I couldn't do nothing but remember me mom. I done lost it, and I think them heroes I was being friends with, they decided I'm not no good either. He paused for a long time, his black eyes searching through traumatizing memories. It's okay, Jack. She isn't able to hurt you anymore. You don't have to be afraid of her. And those friends, well, if they're real friends, they won't hold one little thing like that against you. You said you helped them stop the frog monster, right? Yeah. And you warned the tiefling about his bounty his father put on him? No. I didn't get a chance before Pitt took me over and used me to attack him. Oh, Jackie, you were involved in that Pitt business? The ogre grimaced. Well, maybe for like 2 minutes I was. He was nearing the queen together, when Pitt grabbed into me brain and threw me around like a street ball. Made me attack Isaac before he magicked me good and knocked me out. Well, I'm sure they'll understand. Remember that Roland has fought Pitt 100 times before. He knows. He knows. She patted the side of his head, adjusting him a bit to sit more comfortably against her. Potjack put up his huge mitt of a hand. She placed her far larger one against it, thinking he wanted to be touched. Instead, he pulled his hand away and crushed it into a fist. The last time I saw her, she tried to crush me dead. She opened the very earth, and I was caught between 2 rocks in the ground. Then a whole mountain fell on me. The world was bouncing and quaking, as you ain't never seen. His voice went quiet. She was dancing. He shook like a child scared of monsters under his bed. Being wrapped up like that, it reminded me of being down there, not able to breathe, under the world, with no way out. Potjack sniffled. But you broke free, right? You can't be stopped, honey Jack. Nah, I didn't know back then how strong I was, and all my fate stuff. 'Twas the Stone Wolf who done saved me. Now that's a real friend there. I wonder how Eric's doing. The Stone Wolf? Dory asked. Something in her voice sounded alarmed. Potjack looked up into her big green eyes. Yeah? Why? Honey Jack, he's dead. Dead? Potjack sat up alarmed. How? Rumors say that Ace killed him. Aye, by the burning pits! Potjack leapt up from the bed. Jack, your session isn't over yet. You okay, honey? No, I ain't. I gots to get to the godmother. What? The one you just said you didn't like anymore? Why? 'Cause I know who the wolf wanted to be his successor, and ain't no way he gets noticed without my help. Dory shook her head, trying to keep up with the sudden slew of information. To be the next Stone Wolf? Who is it, Jack? My brother, the ogre creature said before slamming the door and leaving her wondering. My brother. You have a brother, honey? She looked over and saw a brick of gold left on the bed table. She picked up the sizable lump, which was tiny in her oversized hands, twisting it over and over as she waited for the spell's magic to run out. Good luck, Jackie boy, she whispered quietly. I'll be here next time.
That was so sad.
The guilt on your faces during that description.
I know.
I'm just saying.
Damn it.
As soon as Daniel started leaning into that joke again, I was like, I know there's going to be a twist.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I thought you were gonna cry over there.
I am a little
I know.
bit.
I was just like, no little catch. Don't
I am a little bit.
No, good. Just let her look. That is awful. I feel like We did him wrong, even though he did us
I
wrong.
didn't know.
We didn't ask.
I didn't even fight.
He's going around telling people
Yeah, you
about
just
it.
kind of got your ass handed to you.
No, I was trying to save her.
Yes, I know. And then you got squashed.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't really have the time.
In my defense, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I got locked away.
The fire in front of you crackles. In Hero's large black eyes, Isaac and Prongor, you can see the reflection of all of his thoughts. You sit across the bonfire that the giant has easily made by clapping two pieces of bronze together so hard, with a snapping noise that Zarafan looked a little offended that he made. You look across the great plains, the dimming twilight of the mountains. There is a divide that seems to sweep across the land like a flood. And once that darkness rides over you, you begin to hear strange noises deep in the night. Things like scraping against stone, movement on grass, something with more than two legs, creatures, the occasional yell far away, somebody in pain, and the crackle of the fire. The giant, it seems, is quite tired. He's going to lay on his side. He looks like some great Greek god spread out. And he's going to stare deep in the fire, looking through his own haunting memories at this time. Zarafan himself seems to be cold and is going to approach the warm fire, kind of shimmy his hands next to it. He breathes out the cold of the night in a mist. Master, Prongor says, are you going to sleep soon, Master?
Has June returned yet?
No,
Okay.
she is not.
Isaac will turn to him and say, probably not until June gets back from her little adventure. Someone needs to look out for those things drifting about.
Well, I was just about to say, Master, that I'm not really that tired. You certainly did more work than I did, he says. Why don't you get some rest?
I'm feeling pretty alright myself, Prongor. I think I'll stay up. You should get some sleep while you can. Who knows when we'll have to suddenly jump up and run away from this place.
Wise words, Master. Very well. He falls over, and you begin to hear his breathing almost immediately subside into slumber. Prongor has always had the capability to sleep wherever you are, no matter how uncomfortable. Slowly, and rather awkwardly, Zarafan begins to shimmy his way over towards you, Isaac. His eyes are going to trace down to Prongor, sees him asleep. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, but the Doomridge is a lot more to take in than I was expecting.
He looks around. I can't tell whether or not it's scenic or ugly.
Isaac looks out over the field of just like evil castles and things and says, it's certainly memorable.
I wanted to talk to you.
What about?
Trust.
This is going to be an odd conversation. Last time I talked to you,
I know. Pit. I wanted to let you know that I've long had a standing opinion about you, Isaac Crowley. Mostly from your reputation and what I've heard that you've done prior to meeting Cassian. And even after the angel told me about you, well, let's say that I didn't have the respect for Cassian's opinion back then, as I do now. I want you to know that I do trust you.
That's good to hear. I can't say I blamed you for distrusting me for as long as you did. I think that would just make you just like everyone else. But I have to ask, what did change your mind?
A man with your means has no reason to be here. Except attributes that I appreciate in any creature. Honor, duty, friendship. But there is still something about you. That. He nods in the direction of the staff of Alton Matson. I am afraid that I know too much about it.
Do you think that I need to be worried about it?
Yes, I do.
I've already fought those battles with that thing and won. Or maybe I'm just getting complacent and letting my guard down.
That staff nearly destroyed half of Ignos. In its heyday, it was perhaps one of the most evil artifacts in the world.
I see.
Wrapped up in its story is the story of a lich, a death knight, and a nation of undead. Shadows of the ancient world still stretch from it.
Do you think that staff still has that power now? After all this time? And with a new owner?
Yeah.
I see.
Would you like to know more about it?
I've been dying to know more about it. But you're the first person I've met who knows anything.
He is going to inform you. He tells you that Alton was a paladin sent on a grand quest, as the angels send paladins on quest today. His quest was to kill the Lich Betworth. When he arrived, he met 3 men, wise men, known for their advice. The men acted as though they were godmother-like figures, guiding Alton, but in fact they were corrupting him. He nods to the 3 skulls on the top of the staff. Valash, Morganth, and Asher were their names. Alton became the first Death Knight. Once he accepted Betworth's rule over him, corrupted as he was by a gift of the staff. With Alton and Betworth's power combined, they drew even greater numbers of lost and misguided creatures. The fate of Selenox is that it finds lost things, but in those days it didn't mean downtrodden, ill-lucked halflings. It meant the shadowy creatures of undeath. And sometimes it still does. Alton created the order that Khaled is now part of. It's said that in Alton's darkest hour, he split open the skull of a faceless man and dined on its brain matter. The worst possible sin of a necromancer. And then Zarafen's going to look very forcefully towards you with great seriousness. It is my understanding that you have undergone some of the darker rites in this world in order to obtain your power. I can tell when you cast your magic. I am not judging you for your pasts. In fact, I have a rather unique perspective among my angelic brothers. Sometimes a little controlled darkness can open up pathways that were not otherwise available. He seems to think upon a memory and then looks up at you. But I need to know what rights you've done. He says,
Now that you're mortal, can you still tell when people are lying to you?
No.
Okay.
Isaac,
Well, that wasn't suspicious at all.
Incredible question.
are you willing to reveal to him that information?
Yeah. I'll tell him.
You must choose one out of 4 states, each one progressively worse than the last, more sinful, more evil, if you will. The minimum state that Isaac can have undergone is called the sin of the dark. In that, Isaac has created a well of dark power upon which he draws, hidden, always near him in the shadow realm. This pure night, as it is called by necromancers, is used in dark rituals all over the world and is a needed component in any dark mage or death cleric. Specific rituals and spellcraft call upon the pure dark. That is the minimum.
We already know he's doing at least that, so it's...
Sin of the
Oh my god.
the sin of the flesh. Isaac has infused his own being with darkness for a short time, allowing him to mostly go unnoticed among creatures of darkness of limited intellect, and allowing him to communicate with them at the cost of sullying his soul and making it potentially ripe for transformation back into a devil of the pit upon his death. That is the second.
That'd be really cool if I could die.
The sin of the soul is the third.
What was the son
Sin of the flesh.
Thank you.
Isaac has sacrificed innocent people of pure heart upon a specially designated, desecrated altar with the sole purpose of allowing him to read the runes of Galifex, a secret written language similar to Druidic, which only high-ranking devils can read. Most of the wicked books of spells are written in this foul tongue. The Sin Stone is covered in this runic language. And the final, most terrible level that Isaac can have done is the sin of the Father. The most blasphemic rite that a dark caster can undergo. Few besides liches, death knights, and the worst necromancers would dare to commit it. Within this ritual, must personally hunt a faceless man without magic, and upon slaying the creature, remove its rotting brain and consume it.
Yes.
This ritual prevents you from being infected by darkness or your mind taken through mind control by them. But upon the death, your corpse rises again as a creature of darkness yourself, and you become a faceless man.
Can you remind me what a faceless man is?
A faceless man is a creature of darkness. They're about 10 feet tall, lanky, huge claws. They have no face, and they steal faces of other people and use them to trick loved ones into leaving like safety and then eat them. They're like the second level of creatures of darkness above darklings.
Okay. I want to go all the way, but realistically, I know Isaac's at 3.
Sin of the soul.
Yeah.
All right. So you have...
I think there's stuff in like our pre-campaign play where he did that. Like, I don't think I can deny being at least at 3. So.
Okay. So then, in combat, you gain a few benefits. Creatures of darkness, like darklings and faceless men, will generally ignore Isaac in favor of other targets that are closer, or won't actively seek out to attack Isaac. And you can communicate with them. Mostly, this is a mental thing, like a telepathy kind of thing. And then you can read the runes of Galathix, which is a rare but extremely valuable language.
Okay.
All right. When you tell him, you can tell that he was hoping that it would be less severe. But he's going to nod. He merely says, "Thank you." And then he's going to sort of back away. It doesn't seem like he's running or that he's afraid, merely that he kind of needs to contemplate on it.
Man, I hope he doesn't snitch on me. I don't think he would, but
Snitch to who exactly?
You know who?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not an angel anymore, so.
Hey,
What?
Red is eating a roll. So his mask is halfway up to his nose.
What's up?
So what the fuck?
What the fuck what?
What the fuck was that with the giant?
Oh man, I just wasn't really thinking. It seemed like he was gonna hurt everybody, so I just wanted to get out ahead of it. I'm sorry. I apologize to him. I apologize to Juniper and Rafe, and I'm sorry I made things worse.
He's going to take a bite of the roll.
What?
Could have killed an innocent man.
It was out of my hands.
No, it wasn't out of your hands.
No, it was too late. I couldn't stop him.
You were 80 feet away when you ran at him.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
Were you high off the wings?
Look, I didn't know he was intoxicated. I didn't know he wasn't.
Don't mumble at me, Roland. I'm pissed. I'm pissed at you.
Okay. I'm pissed too, okay? I'm going through a lot of shit too. You haven't been here.
And I'm starting to think that was a mistake.
What?
I was the guy. I was the guy who told Harper to train you when you were young enough. Because I said that shit like this wouldn't happen.
What do you mean?
The idea of training a 16-year-old kid, a half-elf who was barely out of preteens, yeah, that was my gamble. I said that you were ready. Now you're 10 years older, and you're making rookie-ass mistakes like that? The goddamn world might rest on your shoulders right now. And I was trying to tell her that you were ready.
Man, I don't know what you,
I want you to take some responsibility for
I
it.
am. I fucked up. I know.
What are you going to do about it?
Try to do better?
How?
Assess the situations better. I don't know. Yo, I've been pointed like a weapon my whole life.
It's because we feared you weren't ready to wield yourself.
Yeah, I can see how if someone else influenced me, this could have been way worse.
If someone influenced you, who are you talking about?
I don't know if somebody who, because apparently the good thing that I'm not supposed to be allowed to do can be very circumstantial to the situation, and I can really, really wreck somebody who doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly correct.
A lot of my life has leaned on the fact that my fate couldn't let me do something this bad. And now I know I can. And now I'm wondering if I've ever done anything like this before.
What are you talking about? How does your fate prevent you from doing any of this? Your fate is the reason that you have to be careful about this.
Yeah, but it's always walking the light. It made me think that if my fate's activated...
That's you! That's not him! That's you!
Yeah, I guess I just thought that if it wasn't okay, it would stop. And I'd have control.
You can't be this naive. It has gone overboard at every opportunity in your life. You're that part. You're that heart. That's Roland, who walks always in the light. Roland, who inspires people. It's not the other.
Thanks for waking me up to make me feel worse than I already do.
Yeah, well, you know what? You deserve it.
Fuck you. You haven't been here.
You're right. I haven't been here. Give me your lance.
It's over there.
I'll give it back to you when you're ready. He's going to walk over, pick up the lance, and then holster it on Shadow. He's going to say something to Shadow quietly. Hey, Captain. So, in the Doomridge, this is pretty exciting, Johnny says. Haven't really gotten to fight as many things as I wanted to.
I don't know if I'd classify this as just exciting, Johnny.
No? Why? I mean, we're like on like a storybook adventure out in Evil World.
Euphemia blinks a moment. Dom almost died. I did die.
It's like Tuesday.
What's with you recently? You've been off.
So, you noticed. Thought I was hiding it a little better.
You can't hide things for shit, Johnny. You know that.
Well, he couldn't tell. She gestures to walks, no roads.
She looks at him and looks at her. I'll give you that. He's probably the only one who couldn't tell. What happened?
What do you mean?
Something must have happened for this change, and I have a terrible feeling about what it could have been.
She kind of looks confused. Like, what?
That tradesman who could alter memory?
Shit, Captain, I told you I wasn't going to do that.
A lot of shit's gone down. Things have changed.
I gave you my word.
You
She
did.
seems offended.
Then what is going on?
Okay. I got an idea.
Yuffie immediately looks concerned.
So I was thinking, you remember when Isaac touched the ship and it just like whoosh, whooshed back together?
She nods.
So I've never met anyone with a fate like Isaac. But I realized that if he can do that, if he can whoosh back together something that fucked up, my family used to work at a tavern, my mom, and she brought home a barrel golem. And it was like my nursemaid. she kind of gets a little bit emotional, it seems, like thinking about it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this in.
Remind me, out of game, how much she has talked about anything related to her mother and what happened to her mother.
Almost none.
Yeah,
basically when
what I
she's
was
like super drunk.
That's the only time I would think she would talk about it. Okay.
She goes, so Keg was like my nursemaid a little bit. Mom used to, store a little bit of drink in there for me when I was getting all fussy. And he was broken up on the night.
That night.
Right, but Keg could repeat things that he heard, like words. So if you told him a message, he could stand there and repeat a message.
Are you saying you think he could have heard who did that?
Exactly, Captain. And I put all the pieces of Keg in a chest that's in the Bank of Selenox. Because I was hoping that one day I'd find a craftsman who could fix him, and then he could repeat what happened that night. Because that was the last thing he heard. So Isaac, if we go to Selenox, I might be able to learn who killed my mom. And, well, I've been thinking about how to approach him to ask him to do it. And a lot of my ideas are really funny, so,
I'm sorry.
This isn't gonna go well.
Isaac's even fancier than Roland is, so I wanted to wait for some really fancy thing to come along, and then I could offer it to him in trade. Do you think that's a good idea?
Like what?
I don't know. There's probably some shit in these castles. Like maybe like a crown, or like a scepter, or maybe like, I don't know, a golden hand.
Is it important to you that he does it in trade and not as a favor?
Well, I don't know if we're that good of friends. Do you think we're friends like that?
She turns and looks over at Isaac.
He's kind of I don't really know what to think of him. He's nice, but he's not like open.
I don't really know what to think of him either, except in battle, I have noticed.
Ooh, could you maybe like, when he's not looking, like just kind of stick your hand in him and figure out what he wants?
In what world do you think he would not notice that? He has his manservant with him, who I'm sure would keep a close eye on me the moment I approach. And it's wrong.
I like how it's a secondary.
As you say that, you can tell she's gone. She goes, Prongor. I should ask Prongor what he wants. He's almost certain to know. And me and Prongor are like, we're pretty good friends.
I think you should ask Isaac openly as a favor. As doing something right.
Well, yeah, but if he says no, then that's it, right?
I think we can pressure him.
I love you, Captain. She says as she throws her arms around you.
She pulls back and looks at Jania. I know this has troubled you a long time. She'll put her hand on her shoulder, I guess, if she's leaning down.
Sure.
You know I'm with you on this. Let's ask him.
Right now? I'm kind of nervous. I got butterflies in my stomach. She says she's going to like slowly like scooch her way over around the fire Isaac, you see this coming towards you, this scooting train.
God, I need popcorn right now.
Isaac just thinks like, why is everyone wanting to talk to me tonight?
Hi, Isaac.
Isaac's like lost in thought. He's like looking over the landscape that they're sitting above, and he kind of like snaps back to it. And he's like, "Oh, what's going on? Everything okay?"
I've got a favor to ask. If we ever go to Selenox, can you fix a golem for me?
Fix a golem. What kind of golem?
A barrel golem. Its name is Keg.
Its name is Keg.
Keg.
That's
yeah,
all?
it used to be my wet nurse when I was a little girl.
I see. Okay. I would be happy to.
Wow, that's so nice.
I could fix a barrel golem in my sleep. It's no big deal.
Thanks.
Yeah. I just hope we make it back to Selenox one day.
Yeah, me too. She's going to like suddenly lean in and just hug you.
Okay, so Isaac has been awkward sometimes, but he's not like that awkward to where he would like freeze up at this. So he just kind of like naturally like puts his arm around her and pats her shoulder, and then it's like, yeah, anytime.
She's going to lean back and like she's kind of like pretty close to your face. She's going to like give you a kiss on the cheek, and then like slowly sort of like begin to awkwardly scoot away.
Okay.
She did it.
I had a feeling.
Isaac's just thinking this golem must be really important to her.
He's so much nicer.
I don't know if nice is always the right word for him.
Is this because you had dinner with him, Captain? Are you two dating?
The horror that overtakes her face.
Can I roll to see if I hear that?
Yes.
Oh, God.
DC 18%.
I can't get over Keg.
I rolled a 1.
Okay.
I do not hear it.
It's too bad.
You actually hear that Jania and Euphemia are talking about dating each other.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
But it is a little bit because of the dinner.
Wow, you're really persuasive, Captain. What did you offer him?
I didn't offer him anything. And that's part of why. I think he really... Look, in battle, he doesn't seem to seek any kind of glory for himself. Every time we've been in battle, he's been healing us or protecting us. And that doesn't seem like the action of a man who only cares about himself. So his words during the dinner suggested that, but his actions have said it even more. I think maybe we can trust him.
I'd like to make another roll. Would I know that barrel golems can repeat things they've heard?
Most of them cannot.
Okay.
There's, like, I would say you've probably seen one of them used as, like, a bouncer before.
Yeah.
And they'll, like, they can, like, read a name off a list and repeat it.
Okay.
And then they'll, like, stop people that aren't that name.
Right.
So I would say that theoretically you would know that that's possible.
Okay.
You all are very suddenly going to hear a insectoid shriek. And you will see a sharp movement over near Red. You watch as he drives a dagger into a large spider, probably the size of a dog. And very suddenly, many such creatures rush out of the darkness as a horde. Please, each of you, roll a dexterity saving throw. DC 14, or you are bit.
You say 14?
Yeah.
Ah,
20.
15.
Okay, sick. Orega, he's going to like grab and like squish one of them and like hurl it as like pulp into another one as he is bitten. Okay. All right. With the outward sphere of the ring, which is mostly composed of you guys, having quick reactions, those inside the sphere are able to get a couple more seconds. So people like Dom and Johnny are able to sort of get up and sort of form a wall of weapons. And then each one of you, there's only like maybe 10 spiders as they rush in. So describe to me, Yuffie, how you slay spiders.
She's on the outer edge. Is that right?
Yes. Right.
Okay. I would say she probably would do a combination of nimbly ripping anything she can out of them in terms of their life and using Pearl's Lament to maybe put out their eyes, slash their legs, slice them apart.
All right. As spiders seem to fall apart near Yuffie, and you see Bali has like accidentally gotten up on top of one and is like kind of riding it around, hanging on. The spider, it seems, is going to try to dash into the night, and she's going to like roll off like a person on an out of control horse as it rushes away. So, with just your hands available, how does Roland slay spiders?
Smash him with a shield.
All right.
Good choice.
As you crush into the body of one of them, its long, bristly hairs is going to tickle your hand and send a shiver up your spine. And as you sort of drop onto the shield, you hear a disgusting crunch and just a little bit of wetness on the outer skirts of the bulwark. And as you get up, your natural martial arts reflexes are going to sort of grab onto the lower jaw of a spider, and with a practiced snap, the spider's head is going to be separated from its thorax and tossed unceremoniously to the ground.
He will, while this is going on, if like looking at Red with disdain while having to fight without a weapon.
Isaac, how does Isaac slay spiders?
So Theor is like running around, and with his sharpened claws, he's like slicing their legs off at the joint. And then Isaac is walking out ahead of the group to like get their attention because he's immune to poison. And as soon as any like gather around him, you see him saying a prayer, and then he casts his hand out, and like this golden dust comes out, and as it hits the spiders, they just like catch on fire because he's using Word of Radiance, which like burns everything around him in a circle.
Nice. So, as the smell becomes apparent on the air of burnt spider flesh, it is the least appealing smell that you have smelled in months. Perhaps except for the great stink of mud on the frogs that you battled on the Outrunner. And Juniper, how do you slay spiders?
I'm not slaying spiders because I'm not even here.
You are, actually. You've just arrived.
Things have already gone to shit while you were gone.
How many are there, and are they spread out?
There are not that many spiders, and they are clustered around the party.
Well, that's unfortunate. Could just drop a fireball on you guys. Please don't do that. Might be worth it. They are spiders.
Don't you have selective spell casting or whatever it's called?
I think I do. By the way, you're going to be so confused when you stop looking at him about where your slants went. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to think you lost.
Where'd my hands go? What the hell? I never thought I'd get to use Word of Radiance. I love that spell.
This is from you, him.
Alright, well, I guess I'm going to drop a fireball on the group and use sculpt spells.
Okay. With the blast of infernic power that appears in the center of the party, frying the remaining 8-legged creatures. The explosion sends them rocketing into the night, slamming into nearby walls and shattering stone.
Can't leave you guys
Zarfan is
alone,
like,
bro.
he's like this, and then he sort of looks over and sees you, and then he kind of like sighs and drops his arms down as the explosion passes over you guys.
June lands on Clover and goes, can't seem to leave you guys alone for even 2 hours, can I?
You're in fairy form?
No. She's on Clover.
Right.
No, she changed back after she came back.
My knight on shiny donkey, Zarfan says as he comes over.
Of course.
Dom is going to like pulls his harpoon out of the head of a spider, and then it's like kind of like ew, icky.
Yeah, there's definitely a look of on her face looking at them. Especially your shield.
Mm-hmm. All the goop.
She just reaches out and just uses prestidigitation to clean it
I
off.
knew it. I knew
Honestly,
that.
I've been somebody like that. He looks at you like with just adoration for that.
So Hero was pinned beneath one of the 8-legged giants. As your fireball blasts the creature, it like flies off him. He stands up and sort of like rubs his arm where its hooks were dug in before it was blown away. He goes, "Hey, thanks for the save."
She just nods.
Was
You all
anyone
right?
bitten?
As you check around, in the midst of finding literally nobody but the giant was bit. And he seems to shrug off the poison fairly easily. He goes, "Well, if there's a benefit, maybe it'll make me a little tired," he says. With that, Hero goes, "Hey, what did you find?"
A remnant from the past.
Okay.
It's not obscure at all.
Hero's like, why is everyone so cryptic?
Poor Hero. She has a sort of bittersweet look on her face when she says it.
After the excitement, the night continues to draw onwards. And as snores and people slowly turning over near the fire begins to stretch on, Zarfan is going to approach. "You cold?" he says.
She kind of gives him an odd look and she goes, I'm very rarely cold. Are you?
"A little bit," he says.
Why don't you take a hint?
She lifts her cloak. Says, join me?
He's going to bend underneath your arm and let the cloak fall upon him. "Thanks."
She kind of nudges her way under his arm.
He seems pensive.
What's wrong?
I've had a couple of things on my to-do list. Feels pretty close to being finished now.
She raises an eyebrow. I'm usually the cryptic one, dear.
I haven't said why I'm really here.
She nods.
He sits a long time. So long that you think he might have stopped revealing any information. And then he finally says, "Azrian, you haven't seen him, June. He looks even worse. He's running around heaven, stressed beyond his own mind."
I mean, he's always been pretty stressed. How is it worse? What changed?
Our numbers. somewhat many now, and yet so few.
She takes his hand.
Prophecy, chaos. We knew about it only a little after you all. As far as just the number of things going wrong in the world.
Yes.
He tried to give me the keys, June.
June's eyes widen. Are you joking?
He wants me to take the leadership role. He's done. He's not going to do it anymore.
What are your thoughts?
Which one of me?
All of you.
I don't want it. But there isn't anybody else. Gathrin. We'll have endless crusades on Ignos. Nazarian's too gone. Nobody else is a leader.
What of Rathian?
Rathian's even more of a rebel than I am. They wouldn't accept him, even if he wanted it.
It's because they don't know all the things that you've done.
Rathian openly preaches an anti-heaven message from the point of view of the angels. He's effectively,
He's the black sheep of the angels.
and as much as I've done, my position as guard of knowledge has always made me essential. Wisdom, as you know, is not something we always have. And that happens to be Rathian's specialty.
As much as I don't want that for you, I agree you are the best spot for it. You
So
know
the moment
my
that
issues.
I heard your message, I ducked out of the door as fast as I could, June. And now I'm mortal. Moved as far away from that key as I could. But I just don't know what to do.
Give it time. That's what you always told me.
I don't know if I could do this without you.
Who said you'd be without me?
June, it's not often you come up to me. I come to you. We're both going to be running massive, globally spanning organizations. We're never going to see each other.
What if I stop? I've been doing this for so long. Maybe after this is over, maybe it's time. Maybe I hand the reins over.
He literally looks shell-shocked. Like, he has rarely ever been so startled in his life. Are you serious?
I've been contemplating it for a time myself. I just never really had the clear-cut reason to do so.
Dear, let's face it. You're a bit of a control freak.
That's very fair.
while it might be able to exist without you, do you think you can exist without it?
Maybe I need to for a time. Maybe I need to step back. I've already removed myself so much from this world. My connections are basically these people around us right now. And I barely know them. The other is Annalise, and she looks stricken for a moment. She goes, and she won't last much longer. I don't think I want to be there without her. Finally finding a family after eons. I can't imagine being without her.
He's going to lean his head against yours.
So let's take this day by day and see where it takes us for now. But you know I'll always be with you. That was never in question.
Let's try. I don't want to tell them that we're a couple.
I'm pretty sure they figured it out.
Johnny, I was looking over at you both.
June actually nods in Johnny's direction at that point. I'm pretty sure the giveaway was our dance. Well, the final confirmation.
Hey, Captain. I don't think that they're a couple anymore. I think they're just really good friends.
As suddenly, June will take his face and kiss him. Very good friends.
Just good friends.
I think Johnny and the captain are dating. She thinks they're no longer dating. It's just like all over the place now.